Jay, and I'm back with another video. So today's video is basically going to be some tips on how to get hired at MAC Cosmetics. I'm just going to get right into the video. I'm not even going to talk y'all to death. Yeah, so basically, my process of getting hired at MAC was very extensive, super extensive. It took me 8 months to get hired at MAC because they were just taking their sweet old time on hiring me. But I'm basically just going to give you guys a couple of tips and pointers on how to get hired. Okay, like, you can't work somewhere, well, in some places you can, but most of the time you can't work somewhere if you don't know shit about who you're working for, you feel me? You gotta know your history about MAC. MAC was actually founded by two men by the name of Frank Toscan and Frank Angelo in the year of 1984. So you don't gotta know like a freaking whole like history lesson about them, but you just need to know the basis of how MAC was founded. You also need to know the products. And if you don't really know, like, you don't have to know like in great detail the products. It's better if you do, but you need to have some familiarity of their products. Also, this is another thing that people don't really know about MAC. Yes, MAC is a cosmetic brand, but they do want you to have retail experience. Okay, so I learned from my experience that you can be like really mediocre or kind of like not that good at makeup, and you can have like a whole bunch of retail experience, especially at a cosmetic counter. Now I'm telling you, if you have a lot of experience at a cosmetic counter already over skills, they're going to choose the experience. Just letting you know. You need to make sure you have some type of retail experience and try to relate it as much as cosmetics as you can, because that's really what they look for when they're trying to hire somebody, because at the end of the day they are a company and they need to make that coin and they need to sell products. Okay, so basically the best way to get on is it's about who you know. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And I'm apologize if y'all hear noise in the background, they're mowing the grass in front of my door. But you basically need to go up to the counter, kind of introduce yourself to the employees that work there. You know, if you're gonna buy products from MAC, you need to go to the counter that you desire to work at, and you need to go there any chance you get, for real. Me personally, I went up to MAC literally like I would say like twice a month. I went up there. Sometimes I would go more than that. Like, I literally was like harassing the fuck out of them. Like, hey guys, it's Skye again. And actually I did have some help when I was working there. I had this lady who was actually an employee at the counter I would go up to, and she was such a big help. She actually sat me down and basically like gave me a consultation of how, you know, like they do on clients, and basically was teaching me the ins and outs, the little basics of working at MAC. So that was very helpful as well. So they're really big on sanitation. Okay, super huge on sanitation. Like, that's why if you go to work anywhere else, or if somebody sees that you work for MAC, even like when you're like doing makeup on your clients and they see that you work for MAC, they are really like, power to you, girl, because you're the shit. Like they already know that you got your shit together, basically, because they're really big on sanitation. It's like simple stuff that you would never think about, like just in general, like when doing your makeup. Like when you're putting mascara on somebody, of course you have to have a wand. You have to have a little plastic disposable wand, and once you put it in the mascara and you apply it to somebody's eyes, you cannot put that same wand back in the mascara jar. That just totally contaminates the whole thing. You got to throw it in the trash. So it's just like literally so OCD when it comes to sanitation. Like, you really have to study that, and you really have to like have knowledge and be aware that everything needs to be clean and sanitized at all times. Every time you go up to MAC, you want to be, one, you want to be dressed in all black, and two, you want to have your face beat. So I don't mean beat like you know, you about to freaking do like in double cut crease with rainbow colors, with rainbow eyeliner up under your eyes with black lipstick on. Like, hell no. Like, you do not need to do all that. All you need to do is basically just show that you can basically apply makeup and just do like your go-to everyday look. Add a pop of color on the eyes, have a nice lip, and oh my god, please make sure that you are wearing at least something from MAC. Like, don't go up to MAC, ask for a job, and you got on fucking Anastasia Beverly Hills, or you got on fucking you got on goddamn, you know, CoverGirl. I mean, like, it's nothing wrong with those products, and if you wear them, you know, it's nothing wrong. Like, you can still wear these products when you work there, but it's just, if you plan on working somewhere, you need to advertise their products. So make sure you try to wear as much of MAC as you can, because I know when I was working there, I didn't have no shacoin, so hence the reason why I needed a job. So I didn't have a face full of MAC, but I sure did fake it till I make it. I'll put on, like, the MAC products that I did have were like products that basically were key points in my face, like my foundation or my lipstick, because that's the first thing somebody notices about you is your lipstick. They're gonna be like, oh, what lipstick do you have on? You know what I'm saying? And MAC is like super pop. That's really how MAC has the staples from their lipstick. They have over hundreds of shades of lipstick, so like that's like really their big staple. At least when you go up to the counter, you looking cute, you on fleek, your hair is laid, you know, you're nice and bubbly. You have on all black, okay, because that's another thing. They are like super strict, okay? They are super like strict on the dress code. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, in orientation, when he was telling me the type of rules that they were to like how you should come to work appropriately, like I remember one was like you have to wear all black. If you wear you know, black jeans, of course they can't be faded. You have to wear black shoes, you have to wear black socks, you have to wear a black belt, you have to look presentable, your nails have to be neatly manicured. You can't have any, like, see, right now this would be, I don't know, this would kind of be like unacceptable. Oh yeah, but your nails have to be manicured. If you got your toes out, your toes need to be fully covered, fully polished. You can't have no little chip, little 3-month-old pedicure on your toes. You need to have your toes looking on fleek, and if they gonna have polish on them, it needs to be nice and neat, okay? You can't be having no little, looking like your 2-year-old daughter painted your toes. So basically, when you finally do get an interview, if you do get an interview, it's going to be a sit-down interview, and there's going to be a hands-on interview. The sit-down interview, my personal interview, was individual. The hands-on interview was like in a group setting, like it was a whole bunch of us in one room. Well, it was only 3 of us. It was supposed to be 3 of us, but it was only 2 of us in our time slot. But the sit-down part was individual. So the way my interview went was that first we had our hands-on interview, and you're gonna need to bring your own model. So whoever you pick, you need to make sure that you are familiar with them, and you need to make sure they're gonna be on damn time. Because when I tell you they are very punctual, like they literally, this was like so intimidating. They literally had a stopwatch on, counting down the seconds to when it hit like 12 o'clock. And like exactly at 12 o'clock they shut the door. They was like, no, nobody else is coming in. Like, no, you could have came in there at 12 o'clock and 30 seconds and you would have been considered late. Like, they are super duper punctual when it comes to that interview. So make sure that you plan like about 30 minutes ahead of time, just to make sure that you're there on time in case you have anything that gets in your way of you getting there, because they are really strict when it comes to being on time. So make sure you pick a model that's on time and that you're familiar with. It might seem easy to do a full beat in 30 minutes, but it's kind of hard, especially when you're trying to do the most. So tips for the hands-on interview is to pick a model's face that you're familiar with, to pick a super simple look or whatever, and they want you to treat the hands-on interview as you're like literally dealing with like a real client. Like you're gonna have to consult with the client, and you're gonna have to like pretend like you don't even know them, basically, and be like, oh, hi, you know, what type of look are you looking for today? What type of skin do you have? Do you have oily skin? Do you have dry skin? Do you have combination skin? You know, where are you going? What does this look for? You know, you got to kind of like fill them out to see what you're going to do. But at the same time, you need to tell your model you better not be doing the most. Because I tell you, the girl who was in the interview with me, she did not tell her model at all like what to do. Like, her model said that she wanted a cut crease with like a cat eye liner. I'm like, girl, you was not gonna be able to do that in 30 minutes. Are you tripping? So yeah, when it comes to the hands-on interview, make sure you try to do something that you know that you can complete in 30 minutes, because 30 minutes will go by super fast. And like I said, once that 30 minutes is up, that's it. Like, they're not gonna give you no extra time. They also want you to teach the model as you go along. So like, as you're applying their makeup, you kind of need to like have them hold the mirror up so they can like see what, you know, you're doing. You know, tell them, you know, I'm just using light strokes here to kind of like fill in your eyebrows. You gotta like kind of talk them through it, so you're teaching them how to use these products, so when they potentially buy them and they go home, they know how to use them correctly. So, and it's also a big tip also to the hands-on interview is to have the model put makeup on themselves. And I know this might sound kind of like, you know, like, what the fuck? But no, seriously, like, but make sure you pick something simple. Don't have her putting eyeliner on herself, or, you know, something crazy like that that's gonna mess up the whole look. Have her do something simple like lining her lips, or like applying her own lipstick. Like, that's something simple that you can have the model do to like kind of show that you're teaching her how to complete the look that you're giving. Because at the end of the day, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get that shit coin. You're trying to sell that product. So you got to make sure that you show that you can that you can tie that into the hands-on interview. All while doing that, you have to make sure that you're being clean and sanitary all at the same time. It might sound like it's just so much you have to think about, but it's really not that difficult. Like, you just have to be very clean and you have to be very sanitary. At my interview, personally, my hands-on interview, the lady had showed us how to sanitize certain things. She gave us like a quick demo on, like, you know, when you have powders, you know, powders don't ever, you know, go bad unless they get wet. So she was like, you know, all you really do is just take a tissue and just take off the top layer of the powder, like you don't blushes and like setting powders and stuff like that. Just wipe off the top layer, and you can just go right in with your brush and just apply it to the model's face. Powders don't really carry bacteria unless they get wet, so that's why you can wipe off the top layer and apply the brush, you know, back and forth on the model's face. But when it comes to like lipstick, you have to literally spray the lipstick, wipe the lipstick off of the tissue, spray the lipstick again, and then wipe it down again to wipe it off, because you're putting that lipstick directly on the model's lips. So you don't want to, you know, you want to make sure that it's nice and clean and double sanitized before, you know, you apply it to somebody's lips, considering that you're actually applying the actual lipstick on their lips. So then when it comes to like things like, eyeliners, they're like disposable applicators, as long as lipstick and stuff like that. So it's really not that much that goes into sanitizing. It's just you have to make sure you're doing it, because it can be very easy to kind of get like lost in what you're doing and forget. But like, they're really adamant about it, and they're going to be watching you like a damn hawk in the interview. So make sure that you're sanitizing everything correctly. And at my interview, they supplied all the products and they supplied the brushes as well. They only supplied about 4 or 5 brushes. So if you're one of those people who use like 10, 15, 20 brushes like me when you do your damn makeup, you're going to need to tone it down. You're going to need to figure out how you can do a beat with like 4 of the same brushes, because they're not going to give you a whole bunch of brushes to work with. And also, when it comes to your hands-on interview, you're trying to do the best beat that you can do in the 30 minutes. So you don't want to just overdo it with using multiple products. You want to like get a multifunctional product, like a product that you can use for more than one thing. For instance, like blush, for instance, like or bronzer, or like highlighter, for instance. You can use highlighter as eyeshadow sometimes, because highlighter has like that. Or you can use eyeshadow as highlighter sometimes. So you know, like instead of you having to grab a million different things, kind of try to like minimize how many products that you're gonna grab, because again, all that's included in that 30 minutes is doing the consultation, going to get the products, applying the makeup, teaching the client how you're doing it, and letting the client practice on themselves. So you have to do all 5 of those things in just 30 minutes. So you want to try to minimize the amount of products that you're using. So based on how you perform in the hands-on interview, it's based on if they're going to want to even talk to you for the sit-down interview. So I ended up actually finishing my 30-minute beat. I actually finished in like 25, 27 minutes. So I actually had like a little bit of time to kind of go back over and kind of like fix some things. So then the lady, she like looked at my model. She kind of critiqued her. They're going to critique your model. The only thing she really told me was that I needed to blend her eyeshadow a little bit more. I did something super simple. I did like a little gold and brown, you know, light smoky eye with a dark like plum lip, because my model was actually my aunt, and she was like, you know, she wanted something that she can wear to work and then wear out in the evening as well. So I just kind of gave her like a little simple beat or whatever. But she critiqued my look and she liked it enough, so I went on to the sit down interview. I went to the sit down interview. Of course, you have to have your resume with you. I had pictures as well, as I had said in my story time, the last story time I had put up. I had pictures with me as well that I had went to Walmart to print out. It cost like 30 cents to print out pictures. Literally, you just go up to the little kiosk, plug in your phone, and print out some pictures. So I had some pictures of my work printed out. And make sure that if you're gonna bring pictures, to bring pictures of a variety of different models, like a diverse culture of models. Like for me, I'm African American, so of course most of my clients were African American. You kind of want to have a variety of a portfolio, because you don't want to just, you want to show them that you're diverse. You want to show them that you are not just limited to doing a certain type of person's makeup, because with MAC is a universal brand. Like, you know, everybody wears MAC, whether you're Asian, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Latino, whether you're gay, whether you're transgender, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman. Like everybody, MAC welcomes everybody into, you know, the little makeup world. So you have to make sure that you show that you can do makeup on a diverse, in a different variety of people. So that's another thing. So I went down to my sit down interview, had my resume there. Honestly, when I applied to work at MAC, I had no experience working at a retail cosmetic setting or at a cosmetic counter before. So that kind of like lost me some cool points with them, because MAC is like super obsessive with you having retail cosmetic experience. Like that's a really big thing to them. So you gotta at least have one. Like if you don't have both, at least have retail experience. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, they are a brand, they are a retail store, and they need to sell products, and you need to be able to sell products. So if you don't have any retail experience, what you doing here, boo? They asked me, the type of questions they asked me was, you know, the basic questions. Why do I want to work for MAC? Literally, because I had because I was going up to the MAC counter consistently trying to get a job there, and I had ended up getting an interview one day with one of the managers, and she literally asked me the same questions that she asked me in this interview. And this interview was a little different, because I had a first initial sit-down interview, and it was like a whole 4 months before like they called me back. Like literally, it was like a whole 4 months before they called me back, and they were like, hey, we're having a job fair, which is basically just another term for a group interview, and they wanted me to come. So basically I had to redo my sit-down interview. And she asked me, it was the same lady who interviewed me before, but it was 2 other females there, and they basically asked me the same exact questions. Why do you want to work for MAC? what's your favorite MAC product and why, what experience do you have in retail, like, you know. And the best tips that I can give you for the sit down interview is just be yourself, you know, keep a smile on your face, you know, just look like you're just happy to be there, just really show them your personality. Make sure at some point in the interview that you throw in something about Viva Glam. And they donate the profit of what they make off of selling the Viva Glam lipsticks. You might have heard of like Nicki Minaj, Taraji P. Henson, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande. Like, all these celebrities have had their own line of Viva Glam. The profits that are raised from people purchasing the Viva Glam lipsticks, it goes to the awareness of HIV and AIDS. So you have to include that somewhat in your sit down interview to let them know that you are aware of what, you know, MAC stands for, and, you know, you're aware of the things and the charity that MAC does. To basically kind of give yourself like some brownie points in the interview. More than likely, when you get hired, you're not going to get hired as a permanent or part-time or full-time employee. You're going to be freelance. So basically, to give you a breakdown, freelance is basically an on-call position. Basically, every week when the schedule is made, they send you a list of hours and they ask you, you know, are you able to work these hours? Tell me what you cannot work. And once you agree to that, you're locked into that schedule. But you do have the option to tell them what you can and you cannot work. You know what I'm saying? But as opposed to being part-time, like they give you a schedule based on your availability. And that's another thing. If you want to work at a cosmetic retail counter, any type of retail counter, you need to have availability on the weekends. Like, you cannot expect for them to hire you if you're not available on the weekends, because that's their busiest time. You're guaranteed at least 20 hours a week with part-time. With freelance, you're not guaranteed 20 hours a week. You can just work up to, I think it was like 30. I can't remember. I think it was like 30 hours. I can't really remember, but I know with freelance that you have to, you can work only up to 30 hours a week. Okay, so now that we've talked about how to get an interview, tips on how to do good in your interview, and also a little information on the different positions if you are offered the job, let's talk about the shitcoin. I don't know like how it is now, but back when I got hired as freelance, and the rate of pay was about around like $15.75 an hour. But the only thing about being freelance is that you're not guaranteed, you know, hours. You're not guaranteed hours every week. Like, it's on an as-need basis. But I was getting like a pretty decent amount of hours, though. I would say I was working about the same amount as the girls who were permanent. But yeah, you guys, that's all I got today. I feel like this video is going to be like long as hell, but yeah, that's basically like some tips and some things to know before you apply to MAC, or if you're wanting to work at MAC, or if you have interest and you just wanted to know how like the process would be. This is just a disclaimer. It's no guarantee that excuse me. There's no guarantee that you will get a job based on these tips that I provided, but these are just things that I have learned from my personal experience that got me hired at MAC. And I hope that these tips were useful to you. And if you like this video, please thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, loves.